Public School, DAV CMC, Dr. B.C. Bosan, Regional Officer, and Mrs. Jaya Bhardwaj Ma'am, Cluster Head, Panchkula Zone, our mentor, our guide, and principal of Hansraj Public School. So today my session is Evolution from Offline to Online Teaching and the Norms and Ethics to be Followed. So teachers, before I start with the session, I just want to ask you, what words click to your mind which are associated with online teaching? The words which are associated with online teaching. I would like to write in the chat box, or if anybody wants to answer, the words associated with online teaching.
Virtual teaching.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Virtual teaching. Even Geeta ma'am has mentioned in the chat box.
Online tools. Online tools.
Okay. Any other words? The moment we say online teaching.
Ma'am, teaching when we are not in the physical appearance with the students and we are on some platform like Google Meet or Zoom.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Means it is a sort of virtual teaching.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Then in the chat box, I have got many answers. Online platform, internet platform, so and ICT based teaching, virtual teaching. So thank you so much, friends. Now we start with our session. First thing, initially, what is a traditional way of teaching that we have been doing since many years? And that is the actual traditional way, also called as offline teaching, where it is the teacher-centric. Teacher is the main focus. And it is within the four walls of the classroom where the interaction with the students takes place. No doubt the interaction is more, which leads to the holistic development of the children. And when we compare it with online way of teaching, that is, just now you gave me the synonyms also, like the virtual teaching, electronic teaching, web conference, or e-learning. Here it is, we use the internet. And this type of teaching can occur anywhere, whether it's our home, our office, any working space. And obviously, only the internet connection is required. So now this word, e-learning, it was given by a technology expert, Elliot Massey. And he quoted, "We need to bring learning to people instead of people to learning." This is what is online teaching. Now, how did this online teaching actually evolve? If we actually start right from the beginning, the ancient times, it was the oral education, where the education was passed, the general knowledge that was passed on from generation to generation. Then it was that the knowledgeable person used to teach the children, means guru teaching his shishya. So those ancient schools, they were called gurukuls. Then started the written material, that is, initially it was on the leaves, then scrolls developed, and the early schools, they started developing, which led to the invention of books also, because now the written part started. And as time passed on, these schools, they became bigger, more infrastructure was there, and we started with the modern ways of teaching. But due to COVID-19 pandemic, obviously it paved its way, the footprints on education. This virus forced the educational institutions to shut down, and it actually paved the way to online teaching, where we are virtually connected to our students. So here is a graph, if you observe, it is the impact of technology versus time. And if you observe, this is an exponential graph, means the impact with the introduction of technology that increased many folds. Now, this initial traditional offline method is using the blackboard and chalk, whereas the present mode which we are using, that is the interactive digital mode. Now, this actually, what do we call it? The chalk and talk method has been replaced by PPT and talk method. If we actually summarize, now it is more of PPT and talk. Now, this modernization that was actually forced upon us due to the pandemic obviously has also changed the issues of learning. Means now the trend is more from science towards health, society, our life, the Mother Earth. So post-COVID, it is that these lines, they have taken more place. And even the delivery method. Now, if you just observe, as I just told you, chalk and talk method that has been replaced by PPT and talk. And now it is a sort of blended approach or blended education, where it is a combination of traditional and e-learning. This is also called as hybrid approach. No doubt, in the traditional method, the interaction is more feasible. But yes, if I compare with the online, now it's been more than 1 year. The shift has really made us tech savvy. So the major differences we've already discussed, and you all know it as such, that the traditional classroom, obviously, if the classes are missed, the student find it difficult to gain the learning part as compared to e-learning. And traditional method is teacher focused, whereas e-learning method, it is learner focused. And it does save our time, money, and efforts. Now, these tips from transition, that is from offline to online, what should we take care? Because now the transition is from traditional to a blended approach, a hybrid approach. The first tip is that we should adapt to the different teaching methods. Means whatever we are teaching, we should have various methods, whether it is the recorded lectures or giving assignments, even the learning activities. We should follow the principle of VAK. VAK means V is visual, A auditory, R stands for reading, writing, and K for kinesthetic. Means where the learner himself or herself is performing the activity. Second is to create a single platform to avoid confusion. Why a single platform? So that it doesn't create any confusion for our learners. Whether it is the content, any lecture, any assignment, feedback, that is all available at a single platform, at a single site, so that when the child is revising or has skipped the class, so that he or she is able to get all the material at one particular platform. Third is, since now it is online mode, we have to redesign the curriculum, which we have redesigned. And you all must be aware also, even CBSE has introduced the competency-based questions, the case studies, all this only according to the change, so that the clarity of the subject, that is also very clear. And even because of the sudden changes due to COVID-19. Fourth being using the technical knowledge. There are many websites like the Diksha Step app, which are available, which we use for our gain in knowledge. Apart from that, many websites related to virtual tours, even related to the online worksheets that are available. So this can be actually practiced in our classes now. Because initially it was a roller coaster ride for us teachers also, when all of a sudden we were given this online platform. But with the passage of time, we all have learned a lot. Fifth being to plan strategically, means to engage our students. Obviously, it should be activity-based learning. We should conduct many learning activities so that the students, they get engaged. They should not get bored because of the online classes, because physically they are not present. Next being, obviously, we have to assess our students very regularly. And we have to find out the places where improvement is required. And this can be conducted through various online tests for the formative tests. Quiz can be conducted chapter-wise. And even we have many learning games. As I just told you, websites are there for worksheets. And also, we have the Kahoot app, where if we assess them on online tests, they find it very nice. It's just like a game where they are actually testing their knowledge also, and they are getting the score at one instant. Then being learning the management system, means maybe it's a WhatsApp site or any site where it is that the whole classroom, the whole class is connected to the students with the subject teacher, so that whatever documents are shared, anybody who wants to put the input or has any query, that on that platform, it can be discussed. And last being, ask for the feedback, so that our teaching learning process that improves, which is very, very important. Now, as I just told you, that because of the transition, we have to engage the students, and activities are required. Learning activities, so they are always interested. I'll just share an activity of one of my students when we discussed about the rectilinear path of light, and how I just explained them, if we do this type of activity, it will be very clear to you. And believe me, there were many students who wanted to do the activity, because that created interest, that engaged the students. I'll just share the activity, and this we posted on our platform, so that the rest of the students, they actually learn, they see, and they also get motivated to try next time.
Good morning, everyone. I am Riyansha from class 8C of Hansraj Public School. Today, I am going to perform an activity to prove that light travels in a straight path. For this activity, here I have taken a glass jar, a matchbox, few essence sticks, and a laser light. So now, if I turn on this laser, you can only see the light coming out of it and only a spot on the wall, not its path, whether it is traveling in a straight line or in a zigzag manner. Now, if I turn on this in front of this empty glass jar, even now we are not able to see its path. What happens when I pass the laser beam through the jar filled with fumes? So now I have filled this jar with fumes. So now we are able to see a straight line inside the jar, which proves that light travels in a straight line. In the first case, we are not able to see it as the light emitted moves away from us and does not enter our eye. But in the second case, the tiny particles of the fumes scatter the light in all directions and it also reaches our eye. Thus, we are able to see the path followed by the beam, that is a straight line. Thank you. Good morning.
So teachers, you were able to see how interestingly this activity could be performed and it was shared with the other students. Now the next one related to lateral inversion. Again, I would like to share it.
Good morning, everyone. Today, Swasti God of class 7C is going to show you an activity on lateral inversion or mirror imaging. So, you can also perform this activity easily at home using a glass of water. Here we have a Borosilicate glass. You can see in number through it 801. Now, we will pour some water into it. As you can see, the number changes to 108. This phenomenon is known as lateral inversion and occurs due to the fact that water bends the light due to its density being different than that of air. Thank you.
So teachers, you must have observed that in spite of being online classes, the students can be engaged. And by engaging them, obviously, the learning process improves. It becomes better. Now, I would like to ask you, friends, now for your online session, what norms have you framed for your students? A general idea, because our second part is the norms and ethics to be followed for online teaching. So the basic thing, what type of norms have you framed for your students? I would really want you to write it in the chat box, or you can speak also, you can unmute. Yes, ma'am. Anybody who would like to share?
Madam, we can use PPTs and YouTube video to explain the concept. And at the end of the chapter, we take the chapter end test in the form of PDF. And that PDF is checked and returned to them.
Fine. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
Excuse me, madam. Can I share?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is Moisture Mall from Bhubaneswar DAB Public School, Bhubaneswar.
Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Whenever we are conducting online classes, and we have fixed some of the norms like that, first of all, the students have to join before 2-3 minutes in the online session. And second one, they should have proper etiquette in the school dress if possible. Third thing, that they have to adjust their camera accordingly, by which there should not be any disturbances. And next thing, whenever the teacher will ask any questions, the students have to raise hand, by which one by one we can ask. The third thing that we are following, whenever you are teaching any lesson and if any interaction is there, then we are going in the rule number wise. From 1, suppose today there is 1 to 5, next day it will be 6 to 10, like that, everybody will get chance. And next thing, whenever we are also any interaction we are doing, then the video also the students are sending, that the video that you are not just now we are showing, that is very interesting. Exactly the same thing we are doing that. If any activity or any diagram is there, just after the class, the students are sharing, and the best one also, and also the means the on the work that is not having standard also we are sharing in the group by which the students can learn by themselves, and also some other norms like that, and the students should at least interact with the teacher during the, you can say, classroom transaction, and the student those are not, you can say, able to you can say interact, though just after that we are sending a message to their parents that at least the students have to interact with the teachers, like that many more are there. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. In fact, you have explained it so nicely. In fact, these are the norms which are actually required to engage our learners, to engage our students. And then I think the online teaching can be a very big success. Whatever problems we are facing, I think it's because of these norms which are not being followed. So thank you for discussing. Anybody else would like to share?
Madam, namaste. I am Santosh Kumar Tripathi from Adani DB Public School, Bhadrak.
Namaste, sir.
Madam, whatever sir told, I explained, we all are following, except all the things I want to share two things. Number one, experiential learning. We are giving some practical examples of our topic, so the students are motivated and inspired to do all these activities. They are involving themselves. Number two, I am engaging all the students through chat box. They are competing in such a manner that I may not able to read each and everything which they are writing in the chat box, but still then I am recording everything, so that in the meantime I can see, I can read, and I can reply in the next class. So they are responding very nicely. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir, for sharing. In fact, this is why I think these workshops are held, so that we can share our ideas and improve upon the teaching. In fact, I have received many methods in the chat box also related to this. And in general, we as teachers also, I feel that even we have to ensure that our videos are on, we are punctual, so that the learning process becomes better. So I'll just start my second part, the norms and ethics that should be followed, also known as netiquette. Now, first being the video norms. Now, for the video norms, the first thing which is required is that our video, the cameras should be on. This should be the first thing, that the camera should be on, so that we do not have the face-to-face interaction like the offline classes. At least we are able to see the human connection. We are able to interact with our students in a better format. We can read their facial expressions. Now, during that, obviously, it is said that we should use a laptop or a desktop. Phones should not be used, the smartphones also, because we are not able to see our students, the learners, properly. And when we are using a desktop or a laptop, at least 1 arm distance should be there. 1 arm distance from the device, so that our image is not distorted. And we should always sit in the center of the screen. Also, the check should be there on the placement of light, so that the image of the presenter is neither too dark or too bright. A very important thing, it is that we should always use the landscape mode. As just told you, firstly, we should avoid the smartphones as teachers, because we have to keep a record. We have to actually see all our students. Secondly, it should be anybody using a smartphone, it should never be a portrait mode. It should always be a landscape mode. This is one of the very important points which many of us do not realize it during the class. Then related to the background, our background where we are sitting, taking a lecture, maybe a webinar, our background should be very carefully chosen. Means at the back of us, there should be a wall. Why a wall? So that obviously everybody is working from home. It's the online classes. The family members or anybody is not crossing. Because if you are not next to the wall, in front of the wall, there could be one or two obstructions. This would affect the person who is taking the class. Whether it's a webinar, maybe we are there as attendees, but yes, it will cause distraction. So we have to be very careful regarding the landscape mode, and secondly, that we should sit in front of a wall so that there is no obstruction. And in front of us, there should not be a wall. Because then what will happen? The person, in case he has to pass, would disturb you as a learner. Coming to the audio norms, even related to audio, we should always enter the online class as attendees when we are ending. It should be always the mute mode. When we are asked to speak, then we should unmute ourselves so that the others are not, the other attendees, they are not getting disturbed. As a teacher, obviously, the other students are not getting disturbed. And when we mute ourselves, generally also it is that the sound quality that improves, it prevents echo, and the background disturbance is not there. Coming to the general norms, just now we discussed the video and the audio, but in general, whether it is with our students or we are attending any webinar, we should not speak out of turn. As such, we all know, we all are science teachers, we all know, but then also we should take care that we should take the permission of the host and then speak. And we should wait, in case anybody is speaking, we should wait that no one else interferes in between. And if the number of participants are more, we can always use a chat window in case of any query. And most important, your video should be on, as we expect from our students in general also, so that it is that in case of any reason, there is any emergency or you have to perform any other task, then you can switch off the video so that the others are not disturbed. And do avoid multitasking during an online session. Avoid lying down on a bed or a couch. In fact, we should sit on a study table. We should use a table and a chair and sit straight, because that gives a good impression to our learners also. Now, the thumb rule. We should be very punctual. In case we are not punctual as teachers, obviously our students will not be punctual. And we should stick to the time limit. We should show our learners the importance of time, the importance of punctuality. Login should be done 5 minutes before, so that once the session starts, we are not disturbing the host or the speaker. And when we enter also, we expect from our learners also, and we as attendees also, we should enter with our own name, full name, so that there is a clarity who is attending the session. So I think most of the rules we as teachers, we know, but yes, this was also required because sometimes we do not have the idea related to few of the rules, the norms. Now, for our students, what is expected from our students, which we should convey, I'll just share it in the form of a small video, what the students are expected. Now, ethics for the teachers. No doubt most of the ethics we've discussed, but as teachers, our objectives should be very clear. What should be the outcomes of our teaching? What should be the objectives? That should be very clear. And for that, we do prepare our lesson plans. Then we should always try to correlate our content. Means a student studying in class 7th, when we are doing autotrophic nutrition, in class 6, they have already done herbivores, autotrophs, what is photosynthesis. So we should correlate our content so that we are able to engage our students. That previous knowledge testing is a must. Then what material has to be taught, the references which are required, what method I would adopt. I'm talking with respect to the online classes, means whether I would share a PPT with my students or maybe a YouTube video. It could be any format, but that clarity as teachers, it should be very clear to us so that we can share with our learners. And next comes the assessment, which is a very important part of our teaching. Whether our students, they have understood our topic, whatever was taught, where did the things go wrong, where the response was not very good, so that that can be actually again repeated. Here we have to try to engage our students as much as possible, because we know from just a click, they can leave our session. And the most common reason they say is that there was a connectivity issue. Next is that whatever platform we are choosing, we should just see that we are not changing our platforms frequently, because that would confuse our learners. They will not be able to adjust by frequent changes in the platform. And also, whatever software has to be shared with them, that should be downloaded so that they are clear whatever we want to teach, even they are not confused, and we are also not mixing the topics. And being online class, yes, a strong internet connection is a must. Then whatever techniques we are following, like just now I simply shared a video, a simple technique, but how the students, they get motivated. So we have to encourage maximum participation. And in fact, during online classes, we have observed that the students who were of shy nature were not responding during the offline classes. Now they have started answering. They have started enjoying the class because maybe they are now with their family members, they are at their places, at their homes, and they have started responding. This is something positive that has occurred in many students. And just as we discussed, that the activities can be interactive. Links, videos, PDF, everything should be shared, because as discussed, it depends from student to student what method of learning is convenient for that learner. And the timely evaluation is a must. Now, I would just like to share one thing, and I would want everybody of you to participate. A simple, because we are saying that it should be the involvement of the students. So we as learners who are here, I'm just sharing a video. What you have to do is, it is related to the type of mirrors, which we teach our students in class 7th. you would write the answers directly in the chat box. I have joined with another device also. I can see all the answers and the chat box also. So you would write it there. So this is a sort of activity which engages our students also, and learning improves. So I would request you to just write your answers in the chat box. If not possible, write it on a piece of paper so that we can discuss. So yes, teachers, I observed your answers also. You must have seen that once we teach this topic of mirrors, if we share online such small videos, and we can always give a duty to one of the students who takes interest. Yes, you are the chat monitor for today. That student keeps a record of who students are writing, who went wrong, what answers are there. So this actually engages them. I have tried this in my class also, and this actually engages them. So once this topic is done, yes, they have learned the uses also. This gives them a clear idea how to identify the type of mirror. Because in our offline class, we used to show them the mirrors. They could touch them and see which one is spherical, out of the spherical, which is convex, which is concave, and even a plane one. Now it is a new type of strategy which we can follow. Once this is done, then yes, we can ask our students, yes, out of this, which of the two, spherical as well as the plane, which is more useful? Which mirror is more useful? Like we can divide the class into two, boys and girls. Okay, one would speak in favor of plane mirrors, the other maybe of spherical mirrors. So I would request, friends, you can also just join this debate. Which one is better according to you and why? Let us just continue so that then we can experiment with our students also. Sarita ma'am is writing that spherical is a better one. Sarita ma'am? Ma'am, am I audible? I would want a reason. Why spherical and why not plane? Simply, whatever reason you are, answer you are giving, give with a reason. Let's participate. Yes, anybody who would like to.
Ma'am, ma'am, I'm Milan Mandal from DAV Raniganj. For normal daily life usage, we can use plane mirror, but for different kind of machine use, spherical mirror are very useful. And also plane mirror is a part of a spherical mirror, which infinite radius of curvature.
Yes, sir. I was talking with respect to the students, yes, sir, because simply a student who says plane mirror, maybe he would give the advantages of a plane mirror. so that the uses of these mirrors that gets engraved in their minds, in our students. So anybody else who would like to participate?
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. This is Monica Gujral from Gannor.
Yes.
According to different situation, we have the different uses of the mirror. That depends upon the kind of use where we are using the mirror. If we are using the spherical mirror in case of shaving or in presenting ourselves, then it will not be useful. But if the dentist or ophthalmist is using that spherical mirror, then it is of course of many use. In the case of shaving, we have to use the plain mirror. Depending upon the situation, so different mirrors, they have their own purpose.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. This was just an example only to tell you how we can engage our learners. Now, I would also request, before I continue, that there is a feedback form and also an assessment form. Kindly fill up that before the session ends. That is required, the feedback form and the assessment form. So it's a request, kindly this. And anybody who would, yes, once we are talking of this mirrors, as we discussed just now, the uses, whether it is spherical or it is the plain mirror, we can always conclude in our class. Yes, both the mirrors are important, depending, as just now ma'am told us, depending on the requirement, we can use it. So we can conclude this. So this makes a bit interesting. Any other activity anyone would like to share with all of us? We all are learning, we all are sharing our views. Anybody who would like to share any activity which actually engaged the students and made the topic really interesting so that we can also try with our learners? Yes, friends, anybody who would like to share?
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, I want to say that another thing. Good evening, ma'am. So I want to say that in case of periscope, we are using the plane mirrors, and it is a very useful for to see the overhead images. Okay,
Yes,
and whatever the question you have asked, that plane mirror and also the spherical mirror, and Monica ma'am already told. So as the different uses are there, so accordingly we are using the plane mirror and also spherical mirror. Though spherical mirror have a lot of advantages,
Yes, sir. Yes.
and in case of plane mirror also it has a lot of advantages.
Yes.
We cannot, different situation, different uses, we can use that one.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
This is what
thank
I
you,
said,
ma'am.
sir. In our class, we normally do it in the form of a debate. Girls versus boys. One in favor of spherical mirrors, the other in the favor of plain mirrors. And this is a healthy discussion. And the conclusion is that both are important in our lives.
Yes, good evening, ma'am. Myself, Manita from DAV, Sector 8, Panchkula.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening.
I want to share an activity which I performed. I told my student to perform within a class. Like I was teaching the nature of matter in
Yes.
chapter 6 class. So they perform an activity like matter sink in water, float on water. So they took ice and pebbles and a glass of water. So I told them to everybody perform this activity. So I shared with the class, and I also they were very happy to just perform this activity. Like
Thank you
I
so much,
float
ma'am.
on water and pebbles sink in water. So that's how they engaged in the activity.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing. And this is what we have observed.
Madam, can I show one?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, please.
For that, madam, I have to share my screen.
Yes, sir.
So I'm sharing my screen, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, there are this kind of software by which using of that you can directly set the distance. Here you can change the distance, and you can show where the image is forming. You can see, ma'am,
So
my
your
screen.
screen is not visible.
Switch on the camera, sir. I think.
Ma'am, it is online. Actually, it is virtual. Ma'am, okay, I am sharing. Give me 1 second. Now my screen is visible, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now you can see, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Now it's visible.
Now by changing this focal length, you can the distance of the object, we can see where the image is forming.
Yes, sir.
And so by this app, it is very useful app. We can do all of this mirror as well as lens. We can do this.
That's something very good, sir, that you've shared.
Yes, you can see directly how the image is forming. At a single picture, we can show all of the images which are formed due to different places where we can place the object. And also, it is not only for that. Also, we can show the reflection of light and also different electrical circuits and lots of things we can do by this kind of software. Here we can do also how this is changed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And since we have some problem regarding practical, so we can use different kind of simulator app by where we can directly get the reading also of those practicals.
This is something very good, sir, that you've shared. And I think this chapter of reflection in class 7th, refraction in class 8th, this is where the students find it difficult to draw the ray diagrams. If we start sharing these things, I think this would be the most interesting topic for our students.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
sir. Excuse me, sir. Which app is this?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Sir, will you explain?
Yes, ma'am. This is a simple app which is Physics Virtual Lab. There are different kind of apps you'll get from Play Store, and for doing simulation you can use PhET Simulator, PhET, which is very, very useful. Almost all the physics practical will be covered there, and you can just do the things there like originally we are doing by our hand. Wires are there, digital meters are there. Just we have to put those and make the complete circuit, then reading will automatically come and we can just also record the reading.
Sir, please write in chat box clearly so that I can know the
name of the app. Thank you.
Ma'am. Okay.
Thank you so much,
you, sir.
for sharing. Again, I request my friends kindly fill up the feedback form and the assessment form, which is required. Any other?
Ma'am, actually, I have done one more practical to show the difference between acid base and acid and base at home. So I have done this practical with the help of turmeric because we don't have any acid like that which were available in the for practical in the lab. So we have done that practical with the help of turmeric to explain the topic indicator, how turmeric can show which one is acid or which one is base. So in the case of base, the color of the turmeric goes changing into red color, and in the acidic medium it doesn't change. So it was very much clear to the students, and students they at once they performed the experiment themselves and they showed me.
That's very good, ma'am. In fact, we also do it. This time, as you are right, we could not show them methyl orange or phenolphthalein.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
yes, we can do the experiments with turmeric or maybe with China rose also.
Yes, ma'am.
There is a query from Lalita ma'am also to Milan sir. Ma'am wants that any chemistry app also that you can share with us.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The first app I shared there, PhET Simulator, their chemistry is also included.
Okay. I think it's clear then, Lalita ma'am, because she was asking in the chat box. Anybody else?
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am. Any other
Yes.
friend of ours would like? Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I want to ask that one thing.
Yes.
I'm audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm asking that nowadays what happens whenever we are conducting the online classes, there is a question from different level, that is how to use the artificial intelligence. So can you please give one such example or anything else if
Yes,
possible?
sir.
Then
Yes, sir. We have a session on artificial intelligence also, because now it's just 5 minutes to 5. I'll not be able to take it in detail. But yes, we have this topic in the workshop also, which you are welcome to join, related to artificial intelligence. We are
Okay,
doing
madam.
it with respect to all the subjects. We'll be conducting this workshop.
Yes, madam. Because
Sure.
nowadays everyone is asking that one, and why, how to use.
So you are welcome to join the sessions. In fact, just now, like Monica ma'am, she just shared with us the turmeric activity and anything. Day after tomorrow also, we have a session related to fun-filled activities where we'll be discussing all these. We'll be taking your inputs also. We'll be sharing our ideas, exchanging our ideas so that the teaching learning process that improves for our learners. That is our main motive behind all these workshops and the overall sessions.
Thank
So
you, ma'am.
thank you.
And very nicely you explained all these things.
Thank you, sir.
And being the, yes, I will definitely appreciate to you because the content, that deliberation and other things you have done properly. So in my side,
so much, sir.
thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you,
all
ma'am.
the
Thank you very
attendees.
much.
Okay, thank you all the attendees for taking out time to actually share your ideas with everybody. Thank you so much. Again, I would request you, please fill the feedback form and the assessment form. Thank you so much.
Yukta ma'am, can I end?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.